It just goes. It's like a bullet. It does not stop accelerating. Oh yeah. Oh, she's quick. This bike got to 30 miles an hour way faster than most other bikes get to 20. Brake. Whoa. No way, that can't be right. This is one of the best braking performances I've ever seen on any e-bike I've tested. There he goes. So as beautiful as this field, whoop, slow start, and then we take off. Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are on the Magician Alpha. If you're watching this, you probably already know about this bike. This is a 72 volt beast of an e-bike. It's got a dual battery system giving you a total of 30 amp hours of battery. The new nearly silent Bafang 72 volt motor, which when paired with the 58 amp controller is going to give you a peak power output of almost 5,000 watts. Now, if that sounds like a lot, it is. But if you notice, all of those components are packaged up neatly in a mostly normal bicycle frame. This e-bike still looks mostly like a bicycle. I've already done a few videos on this bike, including a high-speed throttle-only range test and an initial impressions video with a top speed test. If you want to check out those videos, I will leave them linked in the description below. But in today's video, we're going to bring this bike through all of the official tests, the 0 to 20 test, the hill climb tests, the steep, grassy, and bumpy hill climb tests. And you guys are in luck because this is actually going to be a two-part review. In the second part of today's video, which I'll have out in a few days, I actually bring this giant heavy e-bike on a single track mountain bike trail. Stay tuned for that video so you can see how this bike does. And after all that, you will know for sure if this is the right bike for you. Prices of these e-bikes are always fluctuating based on whatever sale could be going on, so to get the most up-to-date price, check the link in the description below, and using my code maxcharge will save you $100 off your purchasing price. One more thing I wanted to mention before we get started: if a full-size e-bike like this is not for you, Magician is releasing the Alpha Mini, pretty much a miniaturized version of this bike with 20-inch size wheels. It's going to look exactly the same with the rear rack battery and the step-through frame, or a step-over frame if that's what you want. Pre-orders for that bike start November 2025, and my code MAXCHARGE will work for that bike as well. I'll leave that linked in the description below. So first we'll get all our basic testing out of the way, and then we're going to pull over and check out the specs and components of this bike, and then we're going to keep riding around and talking about the bike. Let's jump right in. There he goes. So you guys worry about bikes like this not being street legal, and then people just do stuff like that. Sometimes people on the internet just make up problems that don't even exist. All right, as usual, we're gonna start off the test with our 0 to 20, and I guess we might as well add in a 0 to 30 acceleration test, throttle only. The rear tire, I think, is at around 25 PSI. The front is at about 20, somewhere on there. I didn't want to pump them up all the way. I'm about 195 pounds with an additional 15 pounds of clothes and gear on me in my backpack, and it is about 60 degrees out. The battery is fully charged. I just took it off the charger, and it has been through a few cycles now, so allegedly that does help balance the cells out a little bit better in the batteries. We're going to use our draggy to make sure we get the most accurate time, because I do know that this display does lag a tiny bit in terms of how fast it shows you're going versus how fast you're actually going. We're on boost mode. As if you notice, things look a little bit different than the last scene. This is actually my third time out testing this bike, because I would like to test if the settings in the Bafang app change the torque of this bike. I saw one commenter on the Magician Alpha Facebook group say they got more torque from adjusting the settings on this app. Let's test it out. We're going to go into custom riding modes. So if you see here, there's a bunch of settings: start acceleration, max power output, support level speed limit, and this is currently for eco mode. Let's switch it all the way up to boost mode, which is where we're going to do our testing. So if you see, it says start acceleration. Let's just set it all the way up to fast. Everything else is as high as it can go. Start angle, this is actually for your pedal assist sensor, meaning how many times you have to turn the crank arms to get power. So setting it to the lowest amount will give you immediate power, even from a small bit of rotation. So to save that, you press the check mark, Save it. All right, let's connect our draggy. All right, here we go. We're gonna get a 0 to 20 and a 0 to 30 time. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh yeah. Oh, she's quick. Oh my God. Holy crap. 0 to 20 time, 2.87 seconds. 0 to 30, 5.57 seconds. This bike got to 30 miles an hour way faster than most other bikes get to 20. Let's go back into our Bafang app and see if these changes make any difference. I spent a considerable amount of time testing the different power settings within the Bafang app, but based on my tests, the app did not seem to meaningfully change the bike's power output. Every 0 to 20 acceleration run I conducted yielded a similar time of about 3 seconds. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say the settings in the app don't change anything. We're gonna even double check that everything is fully updated. Over there, update. See, no updates available. We're fully updated. As we make our way to our long hill climb test, let's check the hands-free riding experience. So, we're pedaling right now. See if this gets a wobble. There it is. So, we do get a wobble as we're pedaling. I never do this, but you guys really want to know if this has a wobble. And unfortunately, that is just the nature of a larger bike that has a battery in the rear rack. Unless you have a way to dampen the steering system, most of these bikes with that rear rack battery are going to be wobbling. And of course, you could even induce that wobble by pushing the handlebar as you're riding. So just keep your hands on the handlebar, goddammit. What the hell are you guys doing riding with no hands? Anyway, long hill climb test. This bike feels like it has a lot of mid-range torque. The low-range torque is very good, but the mid-range seems to just explode with torque. Maybe that's where they're measuring that 200 Newton meters of torque. I don't know. 3, 2, 1, go. Yep, really good start. And then we just take off. We're flying, folks. It just goes. It's like a bullet. It does not stop accelerating. Oh my goodness. Holy crap. Speedometer showed us being at 40 miles an hour when we crossed the finish line. That is outrageous. Dismounting this bike is very easy because we have that beautiful step-through design. I think if you're getting a full-size bike like this is the way to go, especially if there's a rear rack battery. If you guys end up putting a bag on top of this, it's very hard to swing your leg over the bike, especially if you have any kind of joint mobility issues. So this step-through design, in my opinion, is the way to go. Free spinning wheel speed. We're slowly climbing, see that? All right, we're getting up to 56 miles an hour. Listen to this motor, so quiet, whisper quiet motor. And once again, mounting the bike, very easy. Next up is our downhill speed test, which really doesn't matter because if you find a steep enough hill, in theory, you can go 120 miles an hour on any bike, even if it's not electric. Would not recommend. But I like to do this test because A, it's on the way to our steep hill climb test, and B, I want to see how quickly we can get to that free spinning wheel, full speed. Yeah, buddy! Woo-hoo-hoo! Holy crap! 52! Oh my God! This thing is a bullet. Now, being on this sidewalk, not a good idea, especially if your local laws frown upon e-bikes being on sidewalks. But this e-bike, having a normal frame geometry, will look better than if you had a moped-style e-bike. So we're good in that sense. Handlebar width test. Gotta watch out for my mirror. And by the way, if you guys do take out your bikes on the road, I would highly recommend having a side mirror so you can see what's behind you. Link to this in the description below. This is my favorite mirror ever. I also have a phone mount that I use that I don't have mounted right now. I'll leave that linked in the description below. But check this out, the handlebars are actually on the wider side. We don't have that much space between this telephone pole, which allegedly is not even supposed to be here. So obviously that's gonna give for a bigger size, but it will give you better control for your steering. And let's test the steering angle on this bike. Look at that. really good steering angle. Because this bike doesn't have a dual crown fork, the fork itself is not going to get in the way of the frame, and I can turn the wheel all the way 90 degrees if I want to, and practically turn this thing on a dime. I can swivel it around. Stopping at the stop sign, especially because I'm recording. Moving on to our steep hill climb test, where I have no doubt that this bike is going to absolutely obliterate this hill. 72 volts, 5,000 watts, hills don't stand a chance. Stopping at the line and go. There's that torque, it just kicks in and launches you. And check this out, we're flying. 21 miles an hour, 22 miles an hour, 23. 24, and it's done, man. We finished that hill so fast, but it seems like we held about 22 miles an hour up the steepest part, and we were accelerating. A lot of bikes during that steepest part, they barely are able to maintain one speed while going up the steep part of this hill, and for some stronger bikes, they just accelerate, they just fly up. So like this part right here, very steep. I'll have to measure how steep this is someday. Next up is our 20 mile an hour brake test, where we aggressively brake from 20 miles an hour and see how many parking spots it takes for this bike to stop. Ready and brake. Whoa. Did you guys see that? That was, no way, that can't be right. I tried to initiate the braking here. Almost every bike I test is usually somewhere in the second spot. This thing is mostly in the first spot. That's insane. So these two 03mm rotors, front and rear, with the Star Union branded quad piston calipers, clearly are doing fantastic for braking. And by the way, these brake pads, they are made out of a metallic material, so they are louder at slow speeds. But they do give better performance, especially at high speeds. They tend to stay cooler during high-speed braking, which is going to give you more reliable braking during high speeds, which is a good thing because this is a high-speed e-bike. Well, let me do this a couple more times just to make sure this is accurate, because this is one of the best braking performances I've ever seen on any e-bike I've tested. Let's try that again. Maybe I started braking too early. Ready, brake! Nope. I think we're good. Second attempt, something similar. Still one of the best performances for brake tests I've ever seen. We're gonna do that one more time. I can't believe this. Why am I getting so excited over brakes? Maybe I'm just getting old. One more time, and brake. Oh, man, that is aggressive. Third time, we stopped a little bit further ahead. I'll have to double check on my camera when I started hitting the brakes, if I was close to or over the line, but so far the braking performance on this bike is insane. If you guys want a bike that can go 50 miles an hour and at the same time has some of the best stopping power ever, this might be a good option. And this is a heavier bike. I think it weighs somewhere around 137 pounds, somewhere on there. So having those big, powerful brakes is going to be very necessary. Oh, I've got some clouds up here. I feel some raindrops too. And most of the sky is clear, so we'll keep going. Fun fact, during my range test on this bike, it started raining. You guys can check out that video in the description below. Yeah, I do feel those raindrops. That's okay. We're doing it live. Typically, at this point, we'd be headed over to our top speed testing site, but you guys can check out that video in the description below. We hit just about 50 miles an hour on this bike, and that's a great thing to have that much power, because I could easily keep up with this traffic if you live in an area like me where there are no bike lanes and this is the most shoulder you'll ever get. Having a fast bike that can keep up with traffic is phenomenal. All right, guys, let's take a look at the specs and components of the Magician Alpha. We're gonna start up at the top. At the top we have round rubberized handlebar grips, and they are locking from both sides. I do know that Magician might be switching this out in the future to a more ergonomic style handlebar grip. These are easy to switch on your own. You can easily order some new handlebar grips from Amazon if you guys want something different than this. Very simple minimalist control panel. We'll go over all of the control panel and the display functions in a moment. On the right hand side we have a half twist throttle, and by the way, this throttle you can turn on or off with a button right below. Standard 7-speed Mickey Mouse shifter. And just in case anyone had any doubts if this was actually a bicycle or not, Magician also did include a very classic sounding bicycle bell. If you notice, these handlebars have these end caps, which makes it very easy to mount my favorite mirror that I use on every single e-bike that I take out on the roads. And in the center I have my Gub phone mount that I use on every single e-bike. I know you guys love your links, so I'll leave those linked in the description below. To turn the bike on, you simply hold the power button right here. And there she is, Magician. Top left-hand corner will show you which mode the bike is in. Here's your pedal assist level, speedometer, battery percentage, odometer, and how many watts you're currently using. If you double-click the power button, you can cycle through a few different screens. On this one, you can see your trip meter, odometer, average speed, and max speed. And if you press the power once while on this new screen, it'll show you some more information. And if we press it one more time, you can actually see the voltage, how much current you are currently using, and there's your power output. Double tap the power button again, will bring you back to your main screen. Stay tuned guys, because I'm gonna go in depth into all of the functions of the display. This display has a lot of adjustability, so stay tuned for all of that. Moving on down, we have our BMX style handlebar. Having this BMX stem is obviously going to give you a lot more rise in your ride, but it's also going to give you some adjustability because you can take this handlebar and lean it forwards or backwards if you wanted a further reach or a shorter reach while riding this bike. Cable management does look pretty good, and it is neatly routed directly into the frame. To turn the lights on, you hold the up arrow. The headlight indicator will turn on and the screen will dim. And this headlight is actually very, very bright. You've got multiple very bright LEDs inside. Now during the off-roading portion of this review video, which is part 2 of this video, stay tuned for that, I had this headlight on and I could actually see it in the woods during the daytime. So I think this headlight is actually pretty good. I was pretty happy with its performance. And it looks like the light itself does have some heat sinks on it as well for good heat dissipation. And what's cool is this is running on a 12-volt system, which means that in theory, if you found any other 12-volt light, you could easily mount it on this bike. And there are many, many aftermarket options for 12-volt lights, including turn signals. And here's what the rear light looks like. Looks like we got a bonus reflector underneath. And here's what it looks like when you hit the brakes. We get these orange lights on the sides that also light up. For brakes, we get these Star Union branded hydraulic disc brake levers. And this bike comes with huge 203mm rotors with Star Union branded quad piston calipers. And what you guys might notice is while doing low speed braking on this bike, the brakes are going to be a little bit on the louder side. That's because Magician chose to use a metallic material for the brake pads, which are more heat resistant and will give you better stopping power under high speed braking. You can easily quiet the brakes down by switching in some different brake pads that have a softer material. Just keep in mind, with a heavy, fast e-bike, you're probably going to have to be switching out those brake pads more often than these metallic ones over here. Let's talk about the frame of this bike. I think this is one of the highlights of this bike. Let's start at the top. At the very front, you get an area where you can mount a front basket. You got a place right here where you can put a water bottle or maybe even a third battery. Look at how thick this frame is. Even though this is a step-through frame, this thing is beastly. I did want to point out something very important about this frame. The slacker 64.5 degree head tube angle makes a high-speed e-bike safer and more stable by pushing the front wheel further out, which creates a longer wheelbase and a stronger self-centering steering effect. This added stability prevents the bike from feeling twitchy or developing speed wobble when you're riding fast. Furthermore, the laid back fork angle helps the wheel roll over obstacles easily instead of digging in, giving you more confidence and control when tackling steep downhills or rough terrain. Look at how thick this torque plate is right here. So this, in conjunction with the actual aluminum and this gigantic bolt, is going to make sure that this axle that's getting up to 5,000 watts ran through it is not going to go anywhere. I would recommend using some kind of a marker. Go ahead and put some kind of a red or colored line right there so you can see if there's any movement in that bolt at all, and definitely check this periodically. Check out the suspension linkage. This looks to be well built, extra thick components all around. Everything looks to be neatly put together with tight tolerances, which is something that's going to help with frame rigidity. For rear suspension, we get a D&M branded A038 air shock. And this air shock is fully adjustable. You can put it in the closed or open position. If you see that little red knob, that is your rebound adjustment. And it looks like it would be tough to access, but you can easily reach in and make your adjustments. And here's where we can add more air. I know that in future batches of this bike, Magician is going to make it even easier to access this air nozzle right over here. But right now it's not too bad to get to. The fork looks to have a very thick and robust construction. Front wheel is held on with a through axle. And at the top you get a preload and compression with a lockout adjustment. And here's the brand of the fork. This bike features 26 by 4 inch size double wall aluminum rims wrapped in 26 by 4 inch knobby tires. And these spokes are extra thick, which I am very happy to see because number one, this is a heavy bike, and number two, this is a very high powered motor. Nice looking kickstand on this bike, which by the way did come to me broken because it was smashed through shipping. But Magician's customer service was fantastic for me. I reached out to them and within a week I had a brand new kickstand. This bike will come to you with front and rear metal fenders, and they do look to be solidly mounted. Same thing in the back, nice and solid. The rear rack of this bike does obviously hold the 10 amp hour battery, and the rear rack is listed to hold up to 50 kilograms, which is actually over 100 pounds. I like all of the cross bracing that this rack has, and that is important because since the heavy battery is mounted to the rack, and this is a full suspension bike that has rear suspension, everything is going to be moving around, so having an extremely durable rack is very important. If you have a bungee cord, you've got a place to put it right there. Looks like you've got some side rails where you can mount some pannier bags. Some of you keen-eyed observers have already noticed that I put a Cloud 9 seat on this bike. I didn't really like the stock seat that this bike came with. I wanted something wide, big, extra squishy, and it even has some bonus springs underneath. This is a long-range e-bike, and I wanted to make sure I was comfortable during my ride. This is actually my favorite seat that I put on most of my e-bikes. Again, I know you guys like your links, so I will leave this linked in the description below. The main battery of this bike is mounted internally inside the frame. Here's the charge port to the main frame battery. To take it out, let's use one of the keys. Turn the key, it's going to unlock the battery, and then you push the button down here, and then you can remove the battery. The main battery is 72 volts, 20 amp hours, and it uses Samsung 50 GB cells. Here's another label on the battery. Looks like we get a little carry handle down here. And on the other end, you get a battery meter. Put the battery back in, you just line up the bottom, and it latches in place. To remove the rack battery, use the supplied key, turn right to unlock the battery, and down here is a handle that you can grab onto and you can pull that battery out. And here's the label on the rear battery, 72 volt, 10 amp hour. And this battery uses Samsung 50S cells, which is actually a higher discharge battery than the main frame battery. To put the battery back in, simply line up the sled area with the bottom of the battery and just slide that right in, push the battery in, and then turn left into the locked position. And now this battery is not going to go anywhere. And you guys can charge these batteries at the same time using the provided 2 actively cooled 3 amp chargers. Oh, and by the way, something I started doing for all of my reviews is actually testing the battery capacity of all of these e-bikes myself, because what you might find is that some e-bike companies, they like to round up a little or a lot, and you think you're getting a certain battery capacity, but you're not. And during my battery discharge test on this bike, I am very happy to report that this bike scored in the excellent range, which means you are likely to be getting all of the cells that you think are in these batteries. A quick note on battery usage. If you're a heavy throttle user, live in a hot climate, or frequently climb long hills, I strongly recommend running the bike with both batteries installed. According to what Samsung advertises, drawing the full 58 amps of current from the frame battery will significantly exceed the continuous discharge rating of the Samsung GB cells. This level of stress can only be sustained for a few seconds before the cells become dangerously hot, which would severely impact their longevity. However, if you only use about half the available power, the data would suggest that running one battery would be okay. For the absolute best battery longevity and to ensure the cells live a low-stress life, keep both batteries in for every ride. This bike features a powerful drive system with a 3,000 watt nominal motor paired with a 58 amp controller, peaking at a theoretical 5,000 watts. Let's talk about the differences of Bafang's new motor with the in-runner geared design versus the traditional outrunner geared motor. Both styles of motors have been around for a while. Some of the outer rotor motors with steel reinforced gears uses a high magnetic pole count for maximum low-end torque. However, this torque density forces an extremely high electrical frequency at cruising speed, resulting in significant iron losses or heat and poor high-speed efficiency. Conversely, the inner rotor motor with composite gears is designed for much higher RPM, which necessitates a large gear reduction and makes its low-end torque inherently weaker. Furthermore, its lower magnetic pole count minimizes frequency losses, maximizing efficiency during sustained cruising. Other differences to point out. The new Bafang motor uses composite gears, which are not as strong as steel reinforced gears, but they are quieter, and due to this, more efficient, since power is not being wasted through noise generation. Any sound or heat that a motor creates is energy lost that instead could be used for generating rotational power. The outer rotor structure has a larger radius where the magnetic forces are applied, creating more leverage, torque, directly from the motor's rotating housing. This requires less current to achieve the same pulling force. Even though the bridge design of the in-rotor motor is superior to the simple cantilever design of the outrunner motor, the manufacturing complexity is higher, leading to a more complex design where more things could go wrong. Down the road, this could mean that the Bafang motor could be harder to repair versus the simpler design of the outrunner motor. For gearing, we have a mega range Shimano cassette. The cassette I currently have installed is 14 to 34 teeth, but you guys are actually going to get an 11 to 34 tooth cassette, which is going to give you even better high-speed pedaling. And when you pair that with this 56 tooth chainring, more than likely you're going to have pedaling resistance well into the 40-mile-an-hour range. And you're going to shift through this cassette using the Shimano Acera labeled derailleur, protected by a derailleur guard. And this chainring does come with only one metal guard on the outside, but I know that future batches of this bike will have 2 metal guards. It looks like there's a little bit more space in case you guys did want to mount a 58 tooth chainring. And I'm guessing if you wanted something even bigger, you'd have to mount some type of a spacer to get this out a little further. And then you could probably mount a 60 tooth chainring over here. But if you're like me, you're probably not going to be pedaling this bike all that much. Bringing this bike into its minimum seat height is going to make it very comfortable for even smaller riders, especially if you get the step-through model. You can easily step through the frame, slide back, and you could easily mount on this bike. Reaching the ground is very easy for 2 reasons. Number one, that seat is actually on the lower side, and once the rear shock compresses, it will become even lower, making it easy to reach the ground even with my heels. And I am 5'10" with a 29-inch inseam. Here's what the riding position looks like at the lowest seating position. As you can tell, very, very upright. My favorite, nice and relaxed. If I had a longer reach, I could easily tilt this handlebar forwards and get that handlebar even further out. Here's what that rear suspension looks like. And again, it is fully adjustable. I can actually make this softer if I wanted to, but I do like how it's currently set up. And here's what the front suspension looks like. Oh yeah, very important part of this bike, you do get this sticker that says Class 2 because this bike does come to you locked in Class 2 mode, which if you want to keep it there, that's fine. You're going to get a fantastic Class 2 bike. But let me show you guys how to unlock this bike so you can get that 50-mile-an-hour top speed and full 5,000 watts of power. Next, I want to show you guys all the settings of this display. So let's turn the bike on. To get into the advanced settings, you hold the top and the bottom arrow down at the same time. Screen brightness, auto off timer, clock format, and there's the current time. You can change that. You can change the theme of the display. Currently we're using the middle theme. Let's see what the one on the left looks like. To exit, hold the same buttons down. Look at that. And the third option, let's see what that looks like. Interesting. I kind of like this one the best. It's nice and simple. Down here you can adjust your mode, but it's grayed out. Trip reset, and let's click into where it says more. You got a lot of settings you can adjust here. Let's talk about them. Click the power button to get into the first menu. Trip reset, switch to kilometers an hour to miles an hour. Service tips, interesting. Let's actually turn that on. Nice. Automatic light sensitivity. Let's bring that all the way up to 5. Here's where you can switch the bike's modes from class 1, 2, 3, or infinite, which of course we have selected. Let's go into that setting. You can switch from US to Canada, and then from there we can switch again from class 1, 2, 3. But if you're getting a powerful bike like this, more than likely you're going to keep it on infinite mode. Pedal assist mode, you can switch from a torque to a cadence sensor. I would recommend keeping this on torque sensor. That way, in case the bike is on and you accidentally rotate the pedals, it's not going to lurch forwards with full power. Boot password, in case you want to set a password to start this bike. And here you can reset that password. Let's go back to the top and go into the next menu. Here you can adjust the wheel size, which will change how accurate the speedometer is. Speed limit is unlimited. You can't adjust it here, but you can in a later setting. And you can get a bunch of different sensor and controller information right over here. Next menu changes the language. Next menu changes the theme of the display. We already did that. And here's where all the magic happens. This last menu right up here. Let's go in there. Speed limit percentage will give you a different amount of speed for every single pedal assist level. So if you want something really slow for lower pedal assist levels like 10 or 15 miles an hour, you can adjust that. Or if you want more speed, you can make them even higher. I'm pretty happy with how it's currently set up, so we're going to keep it as is. Current limit percentage, this is interesting because it will limit the amount of actual power you get for every single pedal assist level, not just the speed. And that's important because if you have full power but a lower speed limit, the bike is going to lurch forwards and abruptly stop once it hits that speed limit. So this is going to give you a more natural pedaling experience. And by the way, the update process for the firmware on this bike is very easy. First, you just download the Bustin Go app. Go ahead and open the app up. And there it is. My bike is detected. And you will get a notification on your main screen of the app saying there's an over-the-air update available. But if you go into the settings, click on your e-bike right here, you'll see over-the-air update at the bottom. And right now it says no available updates because mine was completely updated, but this is great because you can easily update the software on your Magician Alpha simply using your phone. And this is later in the video, but I did want to show you guys the software for this bike. So we're currently in the Bustin Go app. You guys can get that on the Apple or Android App Store. You can do stuff like turning on your headlight, turning off your headlight, shows you your battery percentage. I think this is your estimated range, 25 miles, I'm not sure. Odometer and current speed. Let's keep messing with this app. So if we go into ride, let's put in my favorite pizza spot ever, which is about 60 miles away. I did actually visit that pizza spot on another e-bike. You guys can check out that video in the description below. Modern a Pizza. Shows us the mileage, 32 miles. It's gonna take us 2 hours to get there. Range, 16.8 miles. I'm guessing that's how much range I currently have available. I'm not sure. And if I press start, confirm, look at that. So it gives me a heads up update here. And it looks like there would be a map on the display as well, but it's not showing up. It's only showing me directions, which is pretty cool, I guess. It'd be cool if there was a map right here. Activity, I'm not sure what this does. Maybe this syncs up to something else. And if we go into the settings, you can change the name of your e-bike, link third-party account. I'm assuming that's something that you can link up to Activity, like Fitbit or something else, to track your calories and whatever else. It is nice that this system does have an app that you can use to easily update this e-bike over the air. Very simple to do. So I do appreciate that, even though right now seems like the app has limited functions. Next up, we have our grassy, steep hill climb test. pretty sure we're gonna have no issues whatsoever climbing this hill, but I wanna see just how good of a job it does. We're gonna get it on camera. Hear that, guys? Slow speed braking. You definitely hear the brakes. It is what it is. The one downside about a step-through frame is you end up getting all kinds of scuffs on your brand new paint job right in the middle. See this? Nice and easy step-through design. Here we go. We're gonna start right at the base. We're in climb mode. We'll test both boost and climb mode, see if there's a difference. 3, 2, 1, go. Slow start, and then we take off. Yes. Easy. And my drone is gone. Don't run the drone over. There it is. What happened, buddy? Let's try that again. All right, let's do it in boost mode. See how it goes. 3, 2, 1, go. Pretty much the same speed. Look at that. What goes up must come down. Testing out those brakes. Oh yeah, they work great. Suspension feels good. That rear air shock, fully adjustable. And the front fork, plus the combination with the full-size 26-inch size wheels and the fat tires do a great job in soaking up all the bumps. Hey buddy, drone is having some technical difficulties. Poor thing. I want to do that hill climb again. For a geared hub motor e-bike, single motor e-bike, to do this hill climb, just to actually do it is very rare, and this did fantastic. So I don't know if this bike does have 200 Newton meters of torque, but it sure does have a lot. Okay, let's do that again. Climb mode, 3, 2, 1, go. Oh yeah, no sweat. Very nice. Hearing those brakes, slow speed braking on the louder side. What are you gonna do? Come here, buddy. Good boy. So as beautiful as this field, whoop, Jesus Christ. No! I did not know that went down. So as beautiful as this field is, we're gonna move on to part 2 of this review, which is our off-road test. We're gonna head on this main road where cars are traveling anywhere between 40 to 60 miles an hour. Head over to our off-road test. That's gonna be for a separate video. Link in the description below. Fun fact, I'm actually recording this after that off-road test. Make sure to check that out. You guys are gonna be very surprised how this bike does. But let's move on. Let's continue on with part 1 of this review. Let's test this bike out on the Sidewalk of Doom, and I wanna get you guys in on what the suspension looks like while we're on the Sidewalk of Doom. All right, Sidewalk of Doom. You guys can see how that suspension does. As you can tell, it is working great, absorbing all the bumps. This bike feels so solid. Normally when I do this test, a lot of other bikes, they feel like they're just about to rattle apart. They're just gonna self-destruct. And this one feels solid. The only thing I hear is a little bit of kickstand movement, and that's it. This thing is crushing the Sidewalk of Doom. Oh yeah. Big bump right here. Easy. Let's talk about the pedaling on this bike. So currently I have this bike set to torque sensor mode, unlimited. In terms of ghost pedaling, you guys are gonna get an 11 to 34 tooth freewheel in the back. Currently I have one of the earlier models that has a different freewheel. So with the large chainring, you guys are probably gonna be able to pedal well into the 40-mile-an-hour range. Let's say I didn't have any power at all. Pedaling this bike feels okay once you're moving, but a heavy bike like this, once you hit a hill, trust me, it's gonna not feel great. So you're gonna want some pedal assist. Next up, we got climb mode. And if you guys notice, it is a little bit darker all of a sudden because A, it is the second day. My camera ran out of battery and I had an appointment I had to get to. And B, on the second day of recording this video, it is a little bit later in the day. It's getting dark so soon now. It sucks. I can't wait for summer, but let's keep talking about the Magician Alpha. I want to talk to you guys a little bit more about all the pedal assist settings that you can adjust on this bike. We talked a little bit about all the display settings earlier. Now let's actually try them out. So currently I am in torque sensor mode, in unlimited mode. And as you would expect, if you are putting in a minimal amount of pedaling force, you're going to get a minimal amount of power. And we can actually see how much power we're getting by double tapping the power button, and then you press the power button twice to get to the screen that shows us exactly how much wattage and current you are currently using. Get it? Current that we're currently using. It's current and we're currently, anyway. So right now we're just very gingerly pedaling the bike on boost mode, as you could tell. Switch it to higher gear. If I push harder, oh, that power ramps up quite a bit. In the lowest mode, which is climb mode, if I push gently, I get also a minimal amount of power, but if I push hard, I do not get as much power. And unfortunately, my seat is too low to get adequate leg extension. So if you do want to get exercise on this bike, set it to torque sensor, lower pedal assist mode. Make sure you have your seat extended so you can actually use your legs, and you'll get plenty of exercise on this bike. One of the beauties about a torque sensor. Let's test the cadence sensor. We're going to go into the settings and switch it, pedal assist mode, to cadence mode. So in cadence mode, it won't matter how hard you push into the pedals, it will give you a lot of power all at once until a certain speed. So not for everyone, but you got that option. So right now we're in climb mode. If I start going, we immediately get a whole lot of power. And what's kind of interesting is that in unlimited mode, it doesn't seem like the speed cuts you off. So right now I'm pedaling. I'm still getting power in the lowest pedal assist mode well into 20 miles an hour. And when pedaling this bike at that speed, I get about 900 watts of power. Next level after climb is stealth mode. Now we're getting 16 to 1700 watts of power. Look at that, 30 miles an hour. Next mode is eco mode. See that? I don't know what kind of eco mode this is because we're getting 2500 watts of power. Next is trail, getting 3000 watts of power, 3200. Next is boost, which is the highest mode. We're getting almost 4000 watts. We are getting 4000. Brakes. Oh yeah. Thank you, Magician, for giving me those brakes. So here's the downside to having a cadence sensing high-powered bike. So I could be gingerly moving along. Say I'm in boost mode and I slow down to a crawl, 8 miles an hour. And if I pedal just a little bit, the bike lurches forwards with the full 4000 watts of power that we saw on the display. And sometimes that'll throw you off. Sometimes literally, it will throw you off because you're not ready for it. So unless you know what you're doing, I would recommend keeping this bike in torque sensing mode. Let's keep testing all the settings. Let's go into the settings again. And now we're gonna go into the modes, US. Let's try class 3. Class 3 cadence sensing mode. Again, we lurch forwards, we're still in boost mode. But as you can tell, I'm pedaling and I'm getting a maximum of 28 miles an hour. So what's interesting about this bike is that only when I set it to class 2, then it will give me different speeds for each pedal assist level. And that goes for both torque and cadence sensor. Watch this. So right now, climb mode, cadence sensor, we're getting very little power. Oh my God. 30 watts, really, dude? That's all you're gonna give me? 30 watts. And that's in climb mode. Next up, stealth mode. Now we're getting 12 miles an hour, about 100 watts. See that? Now it's gonna limit us to speeds. Oh, see how we launched? Eco mode. Looks like you're getting about 450 watts, 17 miles an hour. Trail mode. Looks like we're getting about 20 miles an hour, 1500 watts. And boost mode. We can get the 4000 watts that was shown on the display. We can get close to it. But as soon as you get to 28 miles an hour, you're limited, right? Because we're in class 3 mode. And it will work the same way for torque sensing mode. Let me show you right now. All right, torque sensor. So once again, set it to climb mode, which is the lowest mode. See that? I'm pedaling. I can pedal hard, and the most I'll get is 30 watts, just like in cadence sensor. And the most speed I'll get, say I'm pedaling hard, yeah, dips down to 30 again, still about 8 miles an hour. And look at this, the throttle doesn't even work. It is weird that the throttle doesn't work at all. Class 3 mode, interesting. It should at least work to 20 miles an hour. Next is stealth mode, torque sensing mode. In class 2, same thing. It's gonna stop us at, looks like about 12 miles an hour, 150 to 200 watts. Eco, which is pedal assist level 3, 500 watts, 15 miles an hour. If I pedal hard, maybe I can get to 20, somewhere on there. So you guys see what I mean? Only in class 2 will you get different steps in speed limits. And I do know that Magician is always releasing updates for this bike. So in case you get this bike and you get a software update that changes all of this, you can get that update easily using the app. It's a simple over-the-air update. This system is very easy to update. Quick note, while in unlimited mode, I did also try adjusting the speed limit percentages, and those settings didn't seem to work for limiting the speed at specific pedal assist levels. Instead, while in unlimited mode, to change the power levels, Magician recommends adjusting the current of each pedal assist level. If Magician says that they have updates coming out for this pedal assist software setup as it currently is, I'll leave that info in the description below, so make sure you guys check that out. Because again, they're always putting out updates to perfect the software of this bike. So who is this bike for? I think this is a fantastic bike to get if A, you want full-size bicycle geometry, so full 26-inch size wheels, full-size frame. It's also for someone who wants a step-through frame, although they do sell this in a step-over version as well, and a bunch of different colors. If you wanted a very, very quiet and high-powered motor, this would also be a great option for you. Besides some of the super low-power motors out there, like 500 watts or less, this is probably the quietest geared hub motor I've ever experienced. It doesn't have metal gears in it. The verdict is still out whether these motors are going to last with this much power. There are bikes out there that allegedly have more low-end torque that are also 72 volts geared hub motor, but from what I've seen, those motors are very loud. This would also be a great bike if you do want a more relaxed upright riding position. Obviously you get dual suspension, and the suspension is pretty good on this bike. This is not a mountain bike, but if you guys watch the second part to this video, which I will leave linked down below in the description, you will see me take this on a mountain biking trail. I put this bike through its paces and it performed pretty good. Going down, that's gonna be fun going back up. Oh yeah. Here we go. Lots of rocks, big boulders. Here we go. Oh yeah, right through the branch. Jeez, this thing is like a bulldozer. Kind of crazy bringing this big old heavy e-bike on a trail like that. And of course, if you do want lots of power and lots of battery, this is definitely a great option. 72 volts plus the 58 amp controller is going to give you almost 5,000 watts of power, which will give you that 50 mile an hour top speed and all the hill climbing torque you would ever need, unless you're stopping midway on an extremely steep hill and for whatever reason you have to restart. Most likely in 99% of circumstances, this bike is going to give you all the hill climbing power you're going to need. And if you're in torque sensor mode, pedaling this bike, going moderate speeds, let's say around class 3 top speeds, maybe between 25, 35 miles an hour, you're going to get a whole lot of range. But if you did want to just throttle only, flying around 40 to 50 miles an hour, which I did on my range test video. Again, check that out in the description below. The 30 amp hours of 72 volt battery gave me just about 25 miles on this bike until it switched into a low power mode. I call it limp mode, which will make it so you can fully utilize the batteries, because when you ask a battery for a lot of power, depending on how that battery is set up, the voltage is going to sag a certain amount. And when that voltage gets to a low enough level, the BMS will tell that battery to stop giving power. So when you ask the battery for a little bit amount of power, the voltage will only sag a little bit, and you can therefore use the full capacity of your battery. Personally, I think it's a great feature to have. If you get in this bike, the only things I'd really change on it are the handlebar grips. I personally like the Ergonomics style handlebar grips. That's just me. And I did, of course, already change out the seat to a nice, comfy, squishy, springy seat, the Cloud 9 seat. This bike has an upright riding style, so changing those components out is going to maximize your enjoyment of the upright riding position on this bike. Besides that, the only thing you guys might want to change, and this is all personal preference, are the brake pads. You might want to switch those out to a softer material so they're quieter during slow speed braking. As you bed the metal brake pads, they will become a little bit quieter, but not by much. You're still going to hear them. And I think Magician is probably going to be releasing some updates to enhance all the pedal assist sensor settings that we went over earlier, to make sure you guys have a good pedaling experience while you're in the unlimited setting on this bike. And for whatever reason, that throttle just did not work when I was in class 3 mode, which it should. And besides the pedal assist sensor stuff, which might get updated, the biggest downside about this bike that you cannot get around is the size and the weight. This is a big bike and it's a heavy bike. I think it weighs somewhere around 137 pounds. And it's pretty tall as well. The handlebars are pretty much up to my chest. And as I like to say, if you want a lot of power and a lot of range, you can expect a heavy bike. Prices of these e-bikes are always fluctuating based on whatever sale could be going on. So to get the most up-to-date price, check the link in the description below. Using my code maxcharge will save you $100 off your purchasing price. And don't forget to check out the Magician Alpha Mini, which is a miniature version of this bike with 20-inch size wheels, and it might even have a couple extra features that this bike doesn't even have. Let me know what you think of the Magician Alpha. If you're watching this video, you've probably seen a bunch of other videos on this bike. Leave a comment below. Overall, I think this is a fantastic deal for how much you're getting. 72 volts, 30 amp hours, great rugged dual suspension frame design. If you're looking for a full-size all-arounder e-bike where you can do pretty much anything you want on it, this might be a great option. And if you guys don't want to buy this bike but you want to help support my reviews, please feel free to subscribe to the channel if I've earned your subscription. Like the video if you like it. You guys can smash the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos, and smash the new hype button, which I think is only in the app. That will boost this video in the algorithm. Thank you very much if you're doing that. You guys can follow me on social media. I am on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. I have 2 Facebook groups, e-bike addicts and high-speed e-bikes 40 miles an hour and up. And if you're part of that group, you can expect to see more posts about this bike in that group. Oh yeah, and I have a Twitter account that I never use. That is it for today, folks. Until next time.